Sarah.
Hi, Kirby. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good.
I just wanted to say if there's any noise in the background, I apologize for that. But I am on travel, so I do have some background noises.
Yeah, in a foreign city, kind of being a
Mhm.
tourist. All
Yes.
right. We are live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitch today. So yay! So hopefully we'll
Yay.
get some people in and maybe give us their point of view and/or their questions. Today we're going to talk about April Fool's Day. We did have another topic, and we will move that topic to next week, but we are going to talk about April Fool's Day because it is April Fool's Day, and I consider it the most annoying day on the internet. What do you think, Sarah?
Well, I think it has started to shift, but since in a way every day is kind of like April Fool's Day on the internet, as it relates
This
to
is
social
true,
media.
especially the AI.
Yeah, to me, it's like I don't really notice the difference sometimes between April Fools and not April Fools. Although I liked it better as a kid.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
Cynthia says I
yeah,
like it better than a kid. I agree,
yeah,
Cynthia. Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. So I think in that sense, I also liked it better as a kid. And then the other thing is, um, the news agencies that were traditional using. Mr. Osin has said, I thought this was a joke, you guys coming on at this time.
It was not an April Fool's Day. We are.
No,
We are.
we're here. But,
Thank you.
uh,
Thank you.
thank you. So in any case, I think that traditional news, since it's shifted, that also that oomph that used to be there with the traditional news jokes is no longer there.
Right. Yeah. The fact that there's so much just chaos and weird misinformation out there right now, it is harder for it to be funny in some cases. Although there's
Right.
plenty of stuff out there, we're going to cover it. So, Sarah, what is your favorite April Fool's joke that you've done before?
Well, the I don't have that many, but the one that I did do was I convinced a cluster of women from a different country that jackalopes were indeed real. And so they were asking me about, if I had them in my yard, or, how often did I see jackalopes, or whether or not jackalopes were endangered.
You should
Yeah.
probably tell everybody what a jackalope is because we might have people who don't have a clue
Oh,
what it is,
so
and it's not real.
a jackalope is a rabbit with deer antlers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
So they're not real, but you do see a lot of examples of them in art and stuff, especially the Southwest, right?
Yes.
Texas, even, I suppose.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah. So Mr. Olson says we have them in Florida.
There you go. Yeah.
All right. So I've got a couple of them. So one is back in college when I worked at a restaurant. One of the things we would do is we would send somebody across the street to get a pan of steam because maybe our steam table wasn't working or we were out of steam. We needed them to go across the street and get some steam. And then similar to that, when I was in the Army, of course, I'm a SIG-enter, which means that we listened to the audio and read the signals, that sort of thing. But we were co-located with the immenters. And so what we would do is send people not in our office, we'd send them across to another office and tell them to please go get the cloud eradication software because our image was obscured by clouds. So we would have them go get that. So, a couple of fun ones. I've done some other ones throughout time. I very rarely do one now. I remember growing up, my dad would always do the best ones. And so we were always trying to get him back with one. But anyway, we are going to talk about some of the ones that are out there. And very specifically, let's talk about the history of the April Fool's Day. So we have an article here by The Independent. And it says, why do we play pranks on April Fool's Day? And here's where the tradition came from. And so if we scroll down this article, basically their explanation is that when the Julian calendar moved over to the Gregorian one, the Julian calendar, the first day of the year was April 1st. And so when people celebrated on April 1st, they were branded April Fools and sent on fool's errands. That's what, according to this article. So 1500s France is about when they claim that April Fool's started.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So beyond that, we want to start talking about the different stuff that happens as far as April Fools. And I'm going to switch my tab. And here's an article on theconversation.com. And the idea is that the glory days of April Fool gags are over. What do you think, Sarah?
Well, I think that it made a lot of sense, because when you look at this article, it's talking about how news consumption has changed and how the audience has changed, and that that people used to tune into their TV and they would only have a limited number of channels, and they didn't have all these other venues to access, and that the traditional newspapers and news agencies that were putting this stuff out, that it would be more targeted to their audience as a joke. And I think what's happened with cognitive security on a global scale and on a nation state scale is it has been so eroded with a lot of conspiracy theories and misinformation and disinformation that it really becomes convoluted to figure out. Thank you very much, Cynthia. To figure out when something is a joke or if somebody really means it. So if somebody puts on April 1st, aliens have come, do they mean it?
And in these days, who knows, right?
Right.
They mean it or
Right.
not. Yeah, because there's like a lot of things that in the past people would have just, oh yeah, that's definitely April Fool's. But now, I mean, the first day of April, anything can, be a
Mhm.
fool's joke or not. So again, 1500s of France is when people think that it first started. But if we start going through, we could see some of these kind of historical April Fool's jokes on this article. The show notes are already up on YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see the show notes. But you can get them later afterwards as well. So we have so much misinformation that there's a lot of organizations. In fact, like Google, for example, I think doesn't do the same type of April Fool's jokes as they used to. And they actually, back in the 2000s and the aughts, right? That was kind of a heyday for like the tech companies doing April Fools. Now we are going to see that some of them still do, but I want to talk about some of them really specifically say that they are not going to. For example, Malwarebytes. Malwarebytes threw it out there, hey, why we're not doing it very specifically. And they're saying because there's way too many scams out there and it's just hard to tell the difference and stuff. Kind of the same thing we were saying before. It's hard to tell the difference anymore. So they want to not be a part of the problem.
Right.
So, yeah. However, I'm going to switch over here. So, however, even though a lot of people have said that they're not going to do it, why do some brands keep doing it? Because we're going to see that there are some brands that keep doing it. Some do it very well still, some do not. And so the idea is that it's not necessarily just a gimmick. It's trying to let you know that they are relevant in the conversation, that they get what's going on, right? So for example, memes, for example, it's kind of like memes where if everyone is in on the meme, it's all funny. So the goal for some of these people in the April Fool's thing is to be kind of obvious about it, that this is a joke. We're all laughing at it together and no one's taking it seriously. But of course, there are still people who post things out there that could be taken seriously. All right. So as an example, let's talk about some of the posts out there that are is it serious or is it not? Right now, the first thing I'm going to put out here, we're not being political, but I want to point out that there is an address tonight from President Trump. And so it's an April Fool's Day address. And so the thing is, okay, is this an April Fool's Day kind of joke or something like that? I mean, one of the things that, especially like this administration is known for kind of trying to, troll us sometimes, right? As people maybe try to get some people to react in certain ways to some of their posts. And so the question is, is this actually a real address that's happening? Has it already happened? Because there was some kind of video that was already put out. Although I guess there is something to be addressed tonight, and it has to do again with the Iran war. So I guess we'll find that out tonight. What are your opinions? Do you guys think that this is going to be a troll, or do you think this is going to be a serious address that something needs to happen?
Well, I mean, one thing that I would think
Sarah,
about with
Sarah,
yeah,
whatever you just did, you turned your audio down.
oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, okay, a little bit better.
Okay. All right, sorry about that. I mean, one of the things that I would think about with this is the timing of it. I mean, was the timing done purposely to be on April 1st? If it was done purposely to be done on April 1st, as it relates to April Fool's Day, then is it dealing with anything with denial and deception? Or is it dealing with anything, with political surprise? Or is it dealing with something? I mean, there's so many different possibilities with this, and I don't necessarily think that it would be be one of those things. I mean, maybe it was just serendipitously he decided to have it on that day.
Or maybe it's something important is happening, and this has to happen now.
Right. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. And Cynthia says he changes his mind so much that it's hard to tell. Yeah. And so, I mean, he might change his mind and not even give this one tonight, but, I guess we'll find out. Another example of one that could be real, right, is that in India, there was an example of a lockdown notice having to do with the Iran war tensions, right, in India. And so the question is, is this real? And apparently you have to actually download it before you find out that it's actually an April Fool joke, right? So,
wow.
So again, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that would have fooled me. I imagine enough people clicked on it to make sure that they could. But the thing is, do you want to download it, open something, right?
No.
Generally, I'm going to highlight and look at stuff like this. If I saw something like this, war lockdown notice, I probably wouldn't download it. What I would probably end up doing, especially since it's a PDF, right? I would be probably looking at other news sources to see somebody else who did download it. Cynthia says, that's not a good April Fool's joke to be playing on people. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. It's not one where everybody's in on the joke. It's more of like an alarm. And so you might find people who they don't look at that. They don't download it. They don't look for other news. They just see war lockdown notice. And depending on who shared it, you might actually think, okay, we're really going to get locked down somehow. And,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
well, there was one on Twitter saying that an insane amount of F-13s had been taken down. It was released by one of the Twitter accounts today, and that one also, it wasn't funny. So.
Right, and here's the one that on Twitter that you share about aliens, about a briefing that this person got a highly classified briefing about aliens. Now, here's the thing: is normally I would say, okay, that's obviously a joke, except that we are getting a lot of briefings about aliens and stuff being released recently.
Right.
So,
well,
And
one of the other things with this is that if you remember when George Orwell's War of the Worlds first came out, and it was broadcast on the radio because that was the popular venue, it actually caused a panic. I mean, you had lots of people there like, oh my God, we're being invaded by aliens.
Right. And I think that lockdown one could cause kind of a panic as well, where people might go and suddenly go and make a rush on the grocery stores or something like that.
Right. Mm-hmm. So there was somebody who commented this and said, I don't think this is funny if this is a joke.
Mm-hmm.
And I do get it, because it is again so hard to tell what's real and not real, and then
or what people believe is real and not real as well.
Right. And actually, I mean, aliens has already been done not for April Fools, but for narrative storytelling. When they did the radio broadcast of Orwell's work, and it freaked out thousands of people. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And that was a more like a low information environment where they didn't have a lot of places to go to try and debunk it either. They had, certain radio stations, and I don't think that there was TV at that time. And so they had newspapers, but like newspapers would take, until the next morning, or if they had evening editions, that sort of thing. It wasn't something that people could immediately go and debunk.
Right.
Right. So now, as far as debunking these ones, well, first of all, the first one with the India lockdown, it debunks itself if you actually download it, right? So that one, and I'm sure that there are some resources in India saying, chill out, there's not really a lockdown, that was a joke. This case, we got the guy who's announcing aliens in Australia, or alien briefings in Australia, and I mean, chances are there are alien debriefings in Australia because there's alien debriefings here. And it's not because necessarily there's aliens here, but it's like what information was reported on in the past about aliens. That really is happening. They're getting debriefings for this. So this guy's saying aliens are here.
Well, and I think one of the other weird things to note about this is like when we look at one of our earliest episodes of OSINT IRL, when we discuss lizard people, is that these kind of, whether it's an April Fool's joke or whether it's a conspiracy theory, it can actually spur action. So in the case of the alien lizard people, you actually have documented terrorist attacks by lone wolves that have happened from that. So
like the guy who killed his family in Mexico.
Yep.
Absolutely. So there is real danger in creating a spoof joke that you think as if it looks too real, if it's like, just. So let's talk about the ones that are better than this, that are not realistic, but more of the classic, hey, we kind of like these kind of jokes. So UPI.com, we have a collection of some of the best ones out there. So for example, the Heinz matcha mayo, right? So a lot of these are going to be posted on their social media sites. So if you want to go and find any of the ones that we mentioned or find some other ones, again, it's probably on Instagram and or Facebook, maybe on x.com as well. So, Sarah.
I just want to mention this matcha mayo thing after living in Japan. It's not far out to consider the concept of matcha in mayo. I would try it. The wasabi and mayo tastes great.
I love wasabi and mayo. I love a lot of things in mayo. I mean, honestly, that's good.
And so, I mean, even again, this to me, matcha and mayo is not. I mean, I would look at it and say,
it's not too weird.
It's not too weird. I would be like, I want to try that. I want to try matcha in mayo on my French fries. I mean, I have Marmite and chocolate.
Yeah.
So,
all right, let's see what else we've got here. I'm kind of just scrolling through. All right, so Cane's Coca-Cola sauce. Oh, I made the thing too big, so I'm going to go down a little bit. So Cane's Coca-Cola sauce. I guess I'm going to bring it back down to almost normal. All right. I do like Cane's chicken sauce. I don't think that looks delicious, and that's clearly a joke, right? Nobody's going to be drinking cane sauce out of a Coca-Cola. Dude Wipes. No, what Dude Wipes is about, I'll let you guys go look at that one yourself. I'm going to kind of scoop down a few. Here's one, Ugbrella. The umbrella for your Uggs. You know how like you have a lot of little accessories that you can put on, either Uggs or Crocs or things like that. So now you got your little Ugbrella. We've got Terry's, the oranges. And so apparently you have, in case of emergency, a good slice of chocolate orange. Right? Mash Gang Keg, I'll let you kind of look through that one yourself as well. So this is going to be the Baby Bell chocolate company Monty Bojangles teamed with cheese snack Baby Bell for the Choco Bell. All right, we're going to move on. Top Ramen Butterfinger though.
I'm sorry. I have to comment on the Baby Bell with the chocolate. I mean, to me, I don't see what conceptually is wrong with.
I know that's probably really good, huh? Honestly, I'm going to tell you right now, this is probably good too.
Right.
I don't know about what you think about, like, because peanut sauce,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I'd try it.
I would try it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. We do have another one about gaming. So we, of course, how do you pronounce Kotaku? Kotaku? I never know. I just like read it. I never ever know how to pronounce it. But anyway, they have the some at the bottom of it for some reason. All this year's best video game April Fool's Day jokes. And so all the video games, if you're a gamer, that's another pretty normal place where you're going to get a whole bunch of April Fool's jokes in your games. So, for example, in this case, you've got a pillow. Um, I'm not going to go too far into this because I think that's a little bit more niche than normal, but um, men underrepresented in games, right? Kind of a play off on the fact that women are underrepresented in games. So there are a bunch of branding, April Fool stuff happening out there. We would love to see the ones that you found that were the best. We are actually, this is a shorter episode. I mean, we don't have a lot more to talk about for April Fools. We hope that you will send in some. Maybe we'll show some next week. Some quick ones that we find. If you have some great ones, share them with us. In the meantime, it's not necessarily an April Fool's one, but this is our AI slop of the week, and I think that we're going to go ahead and wrap up. And we're very early, but
Kirby,
yeah.
do you have any announcements?
Sarah, do you have any announcements?
Do I have any announcements? Yes, please visit our knowledge portal. It's on plessis.net. So it's knowledgebase.plessis.net. It's a free resource. And we have resources on the knowledge portal that can assist with information verification. I mean, even though we've been discussing April Fools today, one of the things to look at is now in the current media environment, April Fools is every day. So if you're on social media, you really have to be doing due diligence on information verification on every single post. So the one today that I saw on X where they said, I think it was like 35 or 38 F-35s were taken down. I mean, obviously it wasn't true. I mean, somebody who's like with a military analyst background would look at that and say, that's very unbelievable. But for other people that might not have that background, they would look at it and say, oh my gosh, you know, that many F-35s were taken down all in one day. So it's really important to do information verification. Don't believe everything that you see, whether it's April 1st or any other day. And we do have a whole bunch of reviews of free resources that you can do on the knowledge portal.
Yes, don't be the April Fool, right?
Yes, don't be the April Fool.
Don't be the March Fool or the May Fool either. All right. And Cynthia mentions that she thinks April Fool should be left for friends and family. Just have some fun. I agree. I think that was the best when it was just friends and family.
Absolutely. So,
all right. Here we go for our slop of the week.
All right. And thank you, everybody, for coming this week. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
Yep, we'll absolutely be back next week. Filming or live in the same places: YouTube, LinkedIn, and on Twitch. Turns out we can only do 3 at a time with the plan that I have at the moment. So we are going to leave the Facebook off of it for now. But if Facebook's the place where you like to watch everything, let me know. Maybe we'll eventually get an upgraded plan and we have more than 3 spots to film too. All right. Anyway, here's our slop of the week.